The Seattle Seahawks might be the only team in this Super Bowl that actually built their whole season around moments like this, and that is what makes them so dangerous right now. This does not feel like a lucky run that just got hot in January. It feels like a plan that started the day they decided to get uncomfortable, move big names, and trust a new core that fits what this league really is now. You watch this group walk into Super Bowl week, and there is no panic, no wide eyes, just a calm team that looks like it has already seen this game in its head 100 times. On offense, the idea is simple, but it hits hard. Lock in Sam Darnold on a contract that keeps the front office flexible, then spend that freedom on real depth instead of chasing one headline star. That is why trading DK Metcalf to Pittsburgh did not break this group, and why saying goodbye to Tyler Lockett did not knock them off track. They replaced name value with pieces that fit together. A young separator like Jackson Smith-Njigba, a tough tight end like Elijah Arroyo, plus two backs who can carry a drive when the air game stalls. It is the kind of attack that does not care who gets the spotlight on any given night. And that is the type of offense that usually holds up when the whole season is on one field. The scary part is that this balanced offense sits on top of a defense that already plays with veteran control. The front is active, the back end squeezes windows, and a leader like Ernest Jones gives them a tone in the middle that you can feel in every big tackle. Put all of that together, and Seattle walks into this matchup looking like the most complete team on the field. But that does not mean this game is simple, because on the other side is Drake May, a young quarterback who has carried his team all year while taking a lot of hits. And now there is a growing question about how his body and his shoulder will hold up when every snap is the biggest one of his life. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Seahawks and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 1,000 likes on this video. The New England Patriots are stepping into Super Bowl 60 with their whole season sitting on the right shoulder of Drake May. And that shoulder has been through a lot more than anyone in that building wants to say out loud. He is listed as questionable. He has missed a key Friday practice with an illness, and he has been managing that sore throwing arm for weeks. Everyone knows he is going to suit up. That part is not the mystery. The real unknown is what version of Drake May walks on that field when the lights hit and every throw has Super Bowl weight on it. When you zoom out and look at the full picture, it gets even heavier. This year, Drake May was sacked 47 times in the regular season, which puts him in the same punishment zone as Justin Herbert, Geno Smith, and Cam Ward, all guys who have felt real wear on their bodies. He usually holds the ball for around 3 seconds before he lets it go, while a veteran like Matthew Stafford, who was sacked only 22 times, was closer to just over 2.5 seconds. That half second does not sound like much until you remember it is one more heartbeat for a pass rusher to land full force into that same shoulder again and again. He is only in his second year, and this is the first time he has had to carry serious football all the way from week 1 into February, with every hit stacking on top of the last. This is not about doubting Drake May as a player. It is about how thin his margin has become. A sore throwing arm, a body that has hit the turf almost 50 times, less practice time than usual, and now the biggest game he has ever played. That is the mix that can turn a clean pocket into a rush throw, a simple scramble into a risky dive, a normal drive into one wild play that changes everything. And once you start talking about what happens when a young quarterback under this kind of stress has to protect the ball for 4 full quarters against a defense like Seattle, you get to the part of this matchup that should really worry New England, the turnover risk that has been hiding in plain sight all postseason. The New England Patriots might be carrying a problem into Super Bowl 60 that is even more dangerous than the sore arm on Drake May, and it is hiding in plain sight on the box score. This team has made a habit of putting the ball in harm's way at the exact moments when games tighten. In a Super Bowl against a defense that already smells blood, that is not just a small flaw, that is the kind of thing that can flip a trophy in one drive. The scary part is that everyone sees it, but nobody on that sideline can simply flip a switch and turn it off in 1 week. Look at how their playoff run has actually played out. In their first 2 postseason games, Drake May put the ball on the turf 6 times and also had a throw tipped into an interception. And that is before you even factor in the near misses where defenders got 2 hands on the ball. Some of this is youth. A young passer trying to make plays, working with a huddle loaded with first contract players and undrafted finds. Backs like Ramondre Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson are tough runners, but they have been asked to grind out hard yards in crowded boxes where one extra helmet on the ball can change everything. On the outside, Stefon Diggs is still a smart route runner who can move chains, but he has not played like the kind of wideout who wins every tight contest catch, which means more throws into crowded windows, more tips, more chances for the ball to bounce the wrong way. Now drop that turnover history into a Super Bowl where every possession feels like sudden death, and you start to see why this matters so much for Seattle. The Seahawks do not have to chase wild plays, they just have to keep hitting, keep contesting, and wait for one mistake to turn into a short field. One punch from Ernest Jones at the end of a run, one late break from a corner on a throw to Stefon Diggs. One scramble where Drake May is carrying the ball loose, and the whole tone of the night can flip. And when you start asking why the ball has been on the ground so often, you end up in the place that really connects all of this together, not with the skill players at all, but with the big men in front of the quarterback and how they hold up against the Seahawks front. Every Super Bowl looks like a showdown between quarterbacks, but this one might be decided in the few heartbeats before Drake May even finishes his drop. The New England Patriots are bringing a young star to the biggest stage, but the real stress test is happening right in front of him, where 5 linemen have to hold off a wave that does not stop. You can see it on film. When the pocket is clean, the offense looks steady and calm. When it squeezes, even a little, the entire game tilts. The timing breaks, and every drop back turns into a question about who gets hit first. That is the quiet pressure point that does not trend online, but it decides rings. On one side of that line, you have tackles like Will Campbell and Morgan Moses, veterans and young pieces who have had nights where they look solid and nights where speed and power showed up faster than they expected. On the other side of the ball, you have a Seattle front that feels built for this stage, with DeMarcus Lawrence winning with power, Leonard Williams collapsing the middle, and edge rushers like Boy Math and Uchenna Nwosu flashing around the corner before a play can fully breathe. Then add a blitzer like Ernest Jones, timing a rush right into a gap that just opened, and you get a picture of why this matchup in the trenches is so tense. It is not about one massive hit. It is about constant stress, shrinking pockets, and forcing Drake May to play faster than he wants, over and over again. Seattle understands that every hurry and every muddy pocket on one side becomes extra value for their own offense on the other. If their front can keep Drake May uncomfortable, the Seahawks only need Sam Darnold and his line to be steady, not perfect, to flip field position and control the rhythm of the night. That is where this turns from a simple quarterback duel into a full blueprint battle. Because while the Patriots are trying to survive long enough for their talent to show, Seattle spent the last year shaping an offense that does not break when the pocket tightens. And that plan around Sam Darnold is the part of this story that really shows how serious their front office has been about chasing this trophy. The Seattle Seahawks offense might be the quiet part of this story that ends up being the loudest on game night. While everyone is talking about hits on Drake May and questions around the Patriots, Seattle walks in with an attack that feels built for chaos. When the game speeds up and the whole stadium feels tight, they can slow the picture down for Sam Darnold with simple reads, clear matchups, and answers ready before the snap. That is the real edge. Not trick plays, not shock value. Just an offense that knows who it is and what it wants to do on every single drive. What makes this group so hard to handle is how many different ways they can win a single down. On 3rd and medium, Cooper Kupp can settle into the exact soft spot that the coverage forgot about. On early downs, Jackson Smith and Jigba can turn a quick throw into a fresh set of chains before the sticks even come into view. In the red zone, Elijah Arroyo can slip past linebackers who are one step late and turn a simple route into 6 points. The backs keep the front honest, because if New England sells out to stop the pass, Seattle is patient enough to hand it off and chew up yards until the Patriots are forced to back off. There is no desperate force feed to one star here, just a steady hunt for the best matchup, over and over again. The most interesting part is that this is not just one game plan, it is also a live audition for the minds on the headset. Every snap that looks this clean makes the rest of the league pay closer attention to what Mike Macdonald and his staff are building. And teams like the Arizona Cardinals and Las Vegas Raiders are already circling Clint Kubiak as the next leader they want in their own building. If Seattle's offense hums on this stage, it will not only push them closer to a ring, it will also turn the Super Bowl into a turning point for who calls plays where in the future. And that is where the story slowly shifts from one game to bigger questions about coaching, new jobs, and even how the whole conference could look if certain teams and divisions start to move. Behind all the player talk, there's another game running during Super Bowl week, and the Seattle Seahawks are right in the center of it. Every smart front office in the league is watching how Mike Macdonald runs this team, how his staff handles pressure, how the game looks from the sideline when things get tight. It is not just about one night. It is about proof that this style of football works at the highest level. The moment the clock hits 0, win or lose, there are owners and general managers ready to call the people on those headsets and ask a very simple question. Can you bring the same control to our building? That is why the buzz around Seattle feels bigger than one Super Bowl trip. You have a young head coach who has turned a good roster into a complete one, and an offensive mind in Clint Kubiak, who has turned a calm approach into real production on the field. Teams that are stuck in the middle, like the Arizona Cardinals or the Las Vegas Raiders, look at that and see a way out of the mess. Add in a franchise like the Los Angeles Chargers, trying to stack talent and find the right voice to lead it, and you start to understand why this game feels like a coaching audition for half the league. If Seattle wins with this formula, it becomes a blueprint other teams will try to copy, even if that means pulling key pieces away from the staff that built it. All of that creates a strange kind of pressure that does not show up on any injury report. The Seahawks are not just playing for a ring, they are also playing to protect the identity they have spent the last year building. A Super Bowl win makes their coaches even more valuable on the market, and at the same time, makes the entire franchise more attractive at the highest level of decision making. And that is where the next layer of this story waits in the background. Because while the coaches are drawing up plans for Super Bowl 60, there are serious questions building about what might happen above them. If the people who own this team decide that this is the perfect moment to make a move of their own. The strangest rumor around the Seattle Seahawks right now is not about a play call or an injury. It is about whether this might quietly be the last Super Bowl with this ownership in place. While the team is one win away from the top of the league, reports have floated out that the franchise could be put up for sale after Super Bowl 60 for a price in the range of many billions. The estate has pushed back and said there is no sale to announce right now, but even that careful language was a reminder of something fans have known for years. At some point, by design, this team will change hands. The only mystery is when and what state the franchise will be in when it happens. That is where the timing of this run feels so wild. Paul Allen made it clear that both the Seahawks and the Portland Trail Blazers would eventually be sold, and we are already watching the Trail Blazers move through a long, slow sale process that started months ago. Now take that same plan and drop it on top of a Seahawks team that has never had more momentum. A rising coach on the sideline, a smart front office, and a roster that looks ready to contend for more than 1 year. If you are a potential buyer, this is the dream moment. A stable brand with a fresh Super Bowl window. If you are a fan, it feels like someone might be getting ready to buy your favorite story right when it hits its peak. And nobody is telling you exactly when that day will come. That tension hangs over everything in a way you cannot quite see on the field, but you can feel in the background. 12s are trying to live in this season, enjoy this Super Bowl. Trust that the people in charge will respect what Paul Allen built and what Jody Allen has protected. Players and coaches cannot control any of it, so they treat it like noise and keep their focus on the next meeting, the next practice, the next snap. But everyone understands what is at stake. A win here would not only bring a trophy back to Seattle, it would also shape the value, the image, and the future power of the franchise if or when a sale finally happens. And that is why the mindset around this team, the way they stay loose and locked in at the same time, might be the most important thing they carry into this game, which is exactly where this story goes next. This Super Bowl feels like a reset for the league, with the Seattle Seahawks, led by Sam Darnold, and the New England Patriots, led by Drake May, taking the stage instead of the old Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes dynasties. Seattle is staying calm and routine-driven, guided by veterans like Cooper Kupp and backed by a fan base that spans the Matt Hasselbeck, Marshawn Lynch, and Russell Wilson eras, all buying into this new version of the team. Patriots fans are hoping Drake May can start his own era after the Brady years. Whoever wins will not just grab a trophy, they will set the standard for what the next wave of football looks like, either with McDonald's balanced, controlled Seahawks built around Sam Darnold, or with Drake May proving he can carry a franchise through this kind of fire.